Thank you, Conference. We now move to motion number 18, reducing drug deaths and secondary harm, to be proposed by David Henry. David, do you have a seconder? Well, I take one from the hall. Yeah, can I have a seconder from the hall to get us? Thank you very much indeed. Plenty of support there. David Henry.
Conference. Lovely to see so many of you again. When I was asked to do this subject, I took a lot of time to research the issue. I don't stand in front of you a person who supports drug taking. I've never done it myself, and I don't recommend it. So I gave this quite a lot of thought. This resolution does not propose to encourage the taking of drugs. Its purpose is to reduce harm. As many of you will know, and if you've read the resolution, this area of policy is reserved. It is controlled by Westminster. And I wanted to bring to the attention, I'm sure many of you have seen in the media, the Scottish Conservatives in particular, who repeatedly use the media to bash Scotland whenever they possibly can. And they've certainly used that with the issue of drug taking, claiming that Scotland hasn't done enough, when they know full well they're the ones that are in control in Westminster. They have done nothing. So the first thing we need to do is send a very clear message from the Alba party to the country as a whole. It's time that we did things better. We can't possibly do it as bad as Westminster. In England, there's been a trial backed by the Home Office called The Loop. Its purpose is to reduce harm. It is also to give out information, welfare support, and to drug test at events such as music festivals. Knowledge is our best weapon against the dread of drug deaths. What's in the tablet you're about to swallow? You don't know. Why has Scotland not followed countries like Portugal, the Netherlands, Switzerland? In Portugal, they launched a drug strategy in 2000. It came into effect in July 2001. The purpose of that strategy was to reduce the deaths from illegal drugs. By 2001, the annual deaths were apparently 131. By 2008, they were down to 20. So the strategy certainly works. And it's long overdue that Scotland took control of these important public policies. Now, there's a saying in television that the best pictures on television are on radio. So I want to try something. I'd like all delegates to please close their eyes and just listen to these following words. That's everybody, please. On the 26th of May 2018, the mother of an 18-year-old, Georgina Jones, who died at the Mutiny Festival after taking just 2 pills, had paid tribute to her little girl online and gave a warning to others and to her friends on social media against the perils of drug taking. Her mother said that her daughter had suffered a 45-minute fit after she took the 2 pills. Georgina's mother then posted on Facebook, and I quote, "As I have now spoken to Georgina Jones's family members, I can now say Georgina died yesterday due to complications after taking just 2 pills at the Mutiny Festival." In quotes, more quotes. "If nothing else, I hope what has happened to her will deter you from taking anything ever again. The pills had caused her temperature to rise to over 45 degrees. Then they caused her muscles to break down, her blood to turn acidic, her heart became irregular, her lungs filled with blood and fluid, and I made the decision to turn everything off. My little girl was 18 and full of life. I just hope this stops at least some of you from ending up the same. You can open your eyes. Nobody knows what's in these tablets. The only way you find out is with an autopsy. Unless, of course, we bring in a similar reduction and we support this resolution and we allow these drugs to be tested. We're not promoting drug taking. We're promoting safety. And a final and last point. Next summer, there's more music festivals. We can fix this. Support the resolution.
Thank you very much indeed, David. I'd now like to call Denise Sommerville for the Remit back, and she will be seconded in the Remit back by Fiona Sinclair. Denise, or maybe the other way around, there's two names on one card. I think Fiona Sinclair is a proposer. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you again, Conference. I'm speaking on behalf of Fiona again, who's a proposer, and myself, who has also contributed to this. Whilst we support the intent of the resolution to reduce the harm of illegal drugs, we know what is advocating as harm reduction does not accurately reflect the conclusions of the recent report on drugs deaths in Scotland. It would therefore not be wise to back this resolution without an amendment. Having failed to persuade the Conference Committee to include that in this. The recent report shows that most of the recent increase in drug deaths occurs between the 35 to 54-year-olds. In fact, in 2020, 63% of all drug-related deaths were in this age group. Prior to 2003, most drug-related deaths were those aged under 35. Therefore, younger people using recreational drugs at festivals are not the majority of those who are dying. The number of deaths in the 15 to 24-year-olds age groups have remained relatively stable, with a small increase in recent years. Whilst harm reduction, including drug consumption rooms, are a perfectly sound idea, we have to bear in mind that the UK Department of Health's own commissioned research shows that the greatest risk of serious violence comes not from people who are mentally ill, but those who abuse and drinking drugs. The percentage of deaths listed against the different types of drugs illustrated very clearly the known risks of polypharmacy, where two or more drugs are used at the same time, in particular the combined use of opiates with benzodiazepam. Sorry, I can't say that word, so I would probably use the street one, easier. These particular drugs account for 89 and 73% of deaths. The deaths are not happening because of drug impurity. It should be noted that there is no published deaths or suicide statistics for those who are forced to endure compulsory treatment under the Mental Health Act, whereas the concern for these people, who include people who are treated simply for being disabled. Psychotropic drugs used in this system have chemical similarities to illegal drugs and have similar horrific withdrawal effects. There is no services in Scotland for those wishing to taper off these drugs. Drugs tolerance and physical dependency are real, whether these drugs are prescribed or taken illegally, and the report was unable to determine what part prescribed medication had to play in these deaths. Government should continue to discourage the use of illegal drugs, educate the population about the effects, especially the effects of psychoactive and psychotropic drugs, provide addiction services that enable drug users to taper off safely from the drugs they are using, provide mental health services and make good use of therapeutic environments and methods instead of ongoing over-reliance on psychotropic drugs, and take immediate action to resolve the social and psychological fallout from disastrous economic policies. Ultimately, only a complete reversal of these policies to enable swift growth of a sustainable economy will start to reverse decades of social dislocation and damage. Please accept this remit. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. And to second the remit back, I invite Denise Sommerville, to be followed by Dave Llewellyn, who will speak in favour of the motion. First, Denise Sommerville. Sorry, Fiona Sinclair. So it's just yourself? Oh, you're speaking on behalf of both of you? Right, okay, so I'll need someone to formally second your remit back. Thank you very much indeed. That's kept us in order. Thank you. Apologies for the confusion. On which basis I call Dave Llewellyn to speak in favour of the motion. Dave.
I didn't expect to be speaking on this. But I'm a criminal. As probably 40% of the people in this room are. And at the end of the day, that's because the law, the way it is, comes through Westminster. And we can't do anything about it. Now, I'm not talking about legalisation here. I'm talking about harm reduction. 2 years ago, my stepson died. My stepson died of a heroin overdose. It could have been prevented. Now, I agree completely with what Denise was saying there about the harms and the people who are actually getting, who are dying of this. The age group has gone older. But the thing is, what this resolution actually does is it gives you a chance that, like she mentions opiates and benzodiazepines. They are the main cause of death at the moment because people are mixing them. Benzodiazepines, basically that's a Valium that's now got much, much stronger. But the thing is, you take your benzodiazepine, you've got your normal Valium. Now you can have something that's 10 times as strong that looks like a Valium. And so what you think you're taking a Valium, you're taking something that's completely different. Looks the same, feels the same, except it feels like 10. That's what's happening. People can't test these. What this resolution would allow you to do is not just go to festivals, it would allow you to actually put porta cabins and shopping centre car parks where people who are buying street drugs like Valium, which is one of the biggest problems, it would allow them to take one of these pills, go in, get it tested, is that a Valium or is it one of these stronger versions? That's a death finished. Now, if you do the same thing with heroin, by the time heroin arrives in our streets, it's cut with stuff that they call barsh, which helps it run in the foil. Now, so basically, this stuff, all of a sudden, you'll get a batch coming across from Turkey. They think, okay, it's a lot stronger. And the next thing is, they don't just smoke it. I mean, somebody's unlikely to die for smoking it. But somebody will stick it in the needle and jack it up. And at the end of the day, bang, 2 seconds later, eyes go up, down. And if you're not in a place where you can fix it, there's nothing you can do about it. They do have treatment. But the thing is, if you're not in a place where you can do that, fair enough. And I understand that there are problems just now with the shooting rooms. And I can understand that Westminster don't want to give that to the Scottish Government because it'll come across that. This doesn't do that. This is something that Alba can do now by actually going to the Home Office the same way as the Loop are doing in England, in a country in the Union, and they have got a licence for the Home Office to test these. We can do that now, and we can stop some drug deaths now. And if we stop one, it's worth passing this resolution. That's good for it.
Thank you, Dave. I'm going to invite Dave Henry to sum up. David.
Conference, this is really, really simple. If we don't pass this resolution and we don't bring in that same testing regime, we will have helped kill somebody next year. There is no doubt. So we can do this and we can do it now. There's no reason not to pass this resolution. Let's make a change. Let's do it. Alba, we care about our people in Scotland, all of them.
Thank you very much indeed. So we're now going to take a vote on motion number 18 on reducing drug deaths and secondary harm. The first vote will be on the remit back. Those in favour of the remit back, please raise your cards. Those against the remit back. The remit back falls. Those in favour of the motion as proposed. That's passed almost unanimously. Thank you very much indeed, conference.